Alright, hello and welcome back to the Numi, the reviewer channel. I know it's been maybe a month or two since I last posted, but there are reasons for that. Main reason is because I'm poor and I am addicted to League of Legends, but that's okay. Today we'll be reviewing something that I got from Orchland's Farm and Home, as always. It is the Ruko knife, fish, and gutting kit. The actual name of it is the Ruko 11-piece deluxe fish and game processing kit. Has a lifetime warranty, outfitter, made by a decent brand, not terrible. I picked this thing up for $18. It's originally priced at $40 because of, it contains 11 knives. Not the cheapest thing to make, but it was on a clearance, so I figured I'd pick it up and make a video since I haven't done that in a long time. So, like I said, Ruko, it's not a terrible company. Not bad at all. In fact, I have other knives from the same brand that aren't of terrible quality. I'll bring one out right now, actually. So, this is my other Ruko knife. It's just a Ruko hunting knife. Simple blade. Came out of the package razor sharp, hair shaving sharp. I use it for whittling blocks of wood whenever I want, or I just use it for general use. And the handle isn't the best looking thing in the world, but it does its job. I do believe it is like plastic or resin or whatever. It's definitely not actual deer horn or something. Otherwise, this thing wouldn't have been priced at $30. This is actual brass, which is a nice touch. A little logo. They have little leather bits right here. That it is real leather. It's all held together by a Phillips head screw, which in my opinion isn't the greatest of things. Other than that, really sharp blade. The blade's really well made in my opinion. The sheath, more to be desired. I wish it didn't look so ugly and clunky. It did come with a sharpening rock. I don't think I could get it back to its original edge with just the rock like this if it were to ever go dull. So that's my other Ruko product. It costs more than this entire 11-piece set. But I really like this knife. It's probably my second favorite knife I have. But enough about other things. Let's get back to the thing at hand. So this Ruko 11-piece game set comes in a little black case like so. Opens up like that, and here we go. Let's take a look at what we got. We got a cutting board. Looks like it's also just made out of plastic. You can see through it, not very thick, flexible, has some little grit on it. Not terrible. Not the thickest thing in the world, but it would definitely get the job done if you ever needed a cutting board. In fact, I might just add this thing to my arsenal of cutting boards in my house. Next but not least, the one thing I was really looking at were the knives. Not all these fancy little doodads here. Let's just start off with the knife sharpener. So, first off, you got a very ergonomic knife sharpener. It comes with two sharpeners. If I can get that to focus, there we go. It comes with scissors and a knife. The knife looks like it's about a roughly 20-degree sharpening edge. And the scissors looks like it's a 30-degree one, meant for scissors. It's not terrible. Would rather just use my own sharpening kit. Next up, we have the fillet knife. There's the Ruko logo again. Has a pretty good sheen to it. It's very thin blade. I will say that there's not much flex in this as much as other fillet knives, but that's not such a terrible thing. These are just resin plastic handles. They do feel comfortable, and I don't think I'd lose my grip on these if they were to be ever covered in, you know, water, whatever you get on your knives. Let's see here. That's about a 7-inch blade, maybe 8 inches. The fillet knife definitely gets a pass, but next up is this bone knife, or bone saw, I mean. The bone saw is pretty ergonomic. I do like the feel of this. Same plastic resin handle as are all these, except for maybe the pair of scissors. It's a pretty thick blade, if I can get it to focus. The teeth on this thing are pretty rough. They're very rough cut, and you wouldn't have such an easy time cutting with this as much as you would with an actual saw. Like that tooth right there, that's just rounded at the end. This bone saw gets a pass, although not a very good one. Would definitely get the job done, but not the best quality. Let's put that back now. Next up are the pair of scissors. If I can get them out. There we go. Alright. So we got your standard meat / cleaving scissors. They do come with a little lock that you can undo with just one hand and redo with one hand. So I do like that. They're pretty ergonomic. They do feel really nice in the hands, as is this whole handle thing. It does feel like they're both right-handed and left-handed scissors, so that's pretty neat. They come with a little tendon cutter and then some meat cutters, or just regular scissor cutters, I guess what you'd call that. Not terrible. I would actually use these maybe in my own kitchen, if I can get that to go back. They lock back pretty easily. I've had a pretty rough time getting this thing out, but it looks like it goes in pretty easy. Alright, next up is the meat cleaver. Now this thing's pretty hefty. It's about a 6-inch blade, maybe 1/4 of an inch thick. That's pretty thick, actually. Unlike most meat cleavers, it does have a pretty unique design, given this rounded top part. It's not the sharpest thing in the world, but it's decently sharp. There's kind of a weird film to it. I don't know if you can see that, but you might want to clean that off afterwards. Might be oil. There are these little cutouts in the steel. I don't know what the purpose of those are. Just maybe to look cool. That doesn't feel good in the hand at all. So yeah, I don't really see a purpose in those little steel cutouts. The handle, it's pretty big, nice, fits in the hand well. It is a pretty hefty blade. It does not feel like it has a full tang. It feels like the tang just goes to right here based on how the cleaver feels, which is good for a cleaver because you want to hack and slash away. Although this tip is interesting. That definitely gets a pass on my part. Looks cool. Probably get the job done. The next step is the gutting knife. I forget what these are called specifically, but I just call it a gutting knife. The whole gutting tip is a little bit questionable. Pretty rough grind. It does look like it's pretty sharp though. There's not much of a bevel on this blade. It's more of just a singular bevel right there, where this whole thing just goes down. This whole thing just tapers down into the edge, which is kind of cool. But then there's just this bevel. Not the sharpest thing in the world, but I guess skinning knives aren't supposed to they're not supposed to be the sharpest thing in the world, because you could just cut through whatever you're trying to not cut through. So maybe they kept that in mind, or maybe they're just lazy. Ooh, who knows? Next up is this little interesting guy. I don't actually know what this would be used for. It looks like a really fancy, sharp butter knife. Same design, similar to the Cleaver, although it looks more like a paring knife than anything in the world. The handle's not that great, a little bit small, but it's a small knife. Looks, like I said, just looks like a butter knife for really strong butter. Blade design's pretty interesting. Guess you could just use this for general use when it comes to cutting things. The grind is questionable at best, especially at the tip. It's not bad on this side, but on this side it gets a little rough. Definitely sharp, cutting off a little bit of skin. Not bad. Next up is the just regular paring knife. Classic design, similar to this. I don't know what that would be called. Handle's small, just like the other one. Little finger groove right here. Nice thin blade, nice and sharp, very pointy. It's a good design, good blade. One thing I did forget to mention that these are all made with 420A steel, which is basically just surgical steel that the doctors would use in the hospital or whatever. So it's not terrible quality, but it's not meant to be the highest grade in the world. But then again, I did get this for $18. Overall, I'm going to compare this to its original price of $40. Would I pay $40 for this? Honestly, yeah, I would. If I was hunting a lot and if I just didn't want to spend a bunch of money on the individual tools, like a fillet knife is maybe like $7 alone, maybe $5 if you're trying to go real cheap. This is probably I'd say this is about a $7 fillet knife at your normal supermarket. Let's throw that into a kit that's worth only $40, or maybe even less if you can find it for less. That's not a terrible deal. It does come with a sharpener. Oh yeah, and I forgot one thing. This weird, funky little box opener. Yeah, that's how you're supposed to hold it, I believe. This is the most ergonomic way I could feel. It doesn't look like it, but it does use, in fact, a normal box cutter blade. Just unscrew all those things and put your regular old box cutter blade in there. It fits in there relatively nice. This thing's kind of made out of plastic, so I wouldn't really trust this thing with my life. I'd say if you were to get nicked, if you're actually trying to go into something and you just got a cotton, maybe a little something too hard or too stretchy, just rip this right off. Unique design. I don't really know how you're supposed to hold this, to be honest. Something like that. The case is a nice touch, especially that all the tools lock into place, like so. Let's just put all these bad boys back real quick. Would I pay the the original $40 for it? Questionable, but if I was hunting and I just wanted a quick setup, then yeah, I would. Dude, like I said, these aren't terrible quality. They feel pretty good in the hands. The case is a neat touch, and so is the piece de resistance, the cutting board. But would I get this thing for $18? Yeah, I would. I got it for $18. I don't even hunt. That goes to show how good of quality it is. Rating wise, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the price that I got it. But for the price of $40, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. I gotta test this sometime, to be honest, see if it actually does the job. Other than that, there's not much else to this kit. Nothing too fancy. Just a regular old, just your regular old 11-piece deluxe fish and game processing set. Anyways, that's it for this video. You guys have a good day now.